Hi, everyone. So one of the questions that has come in is how to break the karmic patterns. So karmic patterns are things that have come to us because we need to learn certain lessons. So first thing about a karmic pattern is to identify the karmic pattern. So the way I like to think about it, if you have a piece of paper or something, you can start writing down what type of karmic pattern is it? Is it financial? Is it relationship? Is it health? Or is it spiritual? Okay, sometimes it can be a combination of all four, but if you can divide it up into different parts, that'll help. So let's work on what should we work on? What kind of karmic pattern would you like to work on? No comments? Okay.
Relationships, ma'am.
Relationships. Okay. So in relationships, then you need to evaluate what is the karmic pattern of the relationship. Is it that, for example, is someone taking advantage of you regularly? Are people not respecting you regularly? Is someone stealing from you? So again, what is the type of problem that you're having? So once you identify that, again, just write it down and try to understand that what is this relationship trying to teach you? For example, let's say, for example, you're being cheated often for money. Just an example. Okay. So if you're being cheated very often for money, what does that mean? Of course, there's the karmic pattern, but why are you being cheated? Are you giving money to people without evaluating them? For example, so let's say, for example, somebody tells, let's say, somebody like, okay, Krishna tells Radha, I mean, sorry, those are God's names, forget that. Suppose we just say that, person A tells person B that I will build the Taj Mahal for you. Why don't you give me $1 million? Okay. Okay, that's what he said. I'll build the Taj Mahal for you, give me $1 million. Now you have to evaluate whether $1 million is enough to build the Taj Mahal or not. Most probably it's not. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. So the question is, if someone is saying that they're going to do something for you and then they are not doing it, are you first evaluating properly in your head that, is this item, is it possible to make this item in this kind of price, whether it's too high or too low, either way. Okay. Now, suppose people are taking the money and then running away. So then the question is, did you do the proper paperwork? Okay. So we often find in families, there's like, it's like one partner backstabs the other partner. Unfortunately, that happens. So the question is, was the paperwork not in place? So if you had an agreement, then did you register the agreement, for example, if it's a partnership agreement? Or was it just a verbal agreement where, two people have an agreement, but, they're both thinking their own thoughts about it. So let's say I tell, one of my partners, like, listen, we'll do 50-50. And let's say the other guy, thinks that, okay, he's going to get, he says, no, let's do 60-40. Now, suppose I didn't clarify 60 for whom and 40 for whom. And then there's going to be a big confusion, right? Because if the other person thinks 60 is his and 40 is mine, there's a problem. If I think that 60 is mine and 40 is his, there's a problem, right? So you need to evaluate, like, have you actually written it down? And that's why you'll see that, often, even when you ask questions, I ask you to write it down, because when you write it down, somehow the clarity comes. Okay. So let's say, for example, this was finance. Suppose there is so that's one example. So the question is, are you evaluating? Have you made the right decision? And have you actually evaluated whether the other person has understood what this financial relationship is about? Okay, so that's one. If it's relationships, suppose in relationships, people are taking advantage of you in the sense that what can happen? What can happen in a relationship? Suppose, you have, not you, but somebody has a boyfriend and, the boyfriend says, I love you and I'll marry you and blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. But every time you ask to meet his family, he doesn't, agree. Or he does. He's like, no, my parents, I don't know, this and that, whatever. So the question is, it should ring a bell in your mind. It's like, why? Why can I not go meet this guy's parents? So in a couple of cases that we've handled, the lady realized that the man was actually married. And he hadn't told her. So, that's another type of relationship issue. So the question is, and sometimes I think the biggest issue that I feel is that sometimes we're just afraid to know the truth. So just think of that. If we are in a relationship and we are not sure, sometimes we don't want to know the truth. We don't want to find out that this person really doesn't love us, or this person really cannot provide what we think they're going to provide us, because we're so entangled with the idea, or we're so, what should I say? We're, we really want that thing that they said they're going to do. Okay, so the fact that it may not happen, we are not willing to evaluate. And that, I think, is a very major lesson for a lot of us, is to actually evaluate. It's like, do I really want to know the truth? Do I really want to know whether this guy loves me or not? Or do I really want to know whether this business partner of mine is actually going to give me, my fair share or not? Sometimes we just don't want to know. We'd rather live we want to live in the confusion because we're having such a good time. Okay, so try to evaluate that. Okay. So those are, again, a couple of my thoughts on this topic. Let me just see what people have written. So just saying that you've learned your lesson, is it enough? So when we learn the lesson, we make a change. Okay, so let's say, for example, I realize that eating spices, okay, gives me a stomachache, for example. Now, the question is, if I just say, yeah, I've learned my lesson, eating spices gives me a stomachache. But then tomorrow, I again eat spices. And day after, I again eat spices. Have I learned my lesson? Not really. I've just said that I've understood my lesson. I've just said, okay, eating spices gives me a stomachache. So I've learned my lesson. I mean, I've understood my lesson. I have accepted my lesson, but I haven't made a behavioral change. So unless you make a behavioral change, we really haven't learned the lesson. Okay, so you have to make a behavioral change. So if I know that spicy food is not good for me, I have to stop eating it. If you think your children are taking advantage of you, you have to stop letting them take advantage of you. It's just as simple as that. It's not that simple, actually. It's just like, you have to first accept that, okay, are my children taking advantage of me? Full stop. If the answer is yes, how do I handle it? And then for that, I would again suggest, of course, there's pranic healing, there's blessing, there's forgiveness. All of those energy tools are there. But simultaneously, you should also explore seeing a counselor, a psychological counselor who can help you understand how to communicate. There are also YouTube videos available. So if it's a simple problem, you can just look at a couple of YouTube videos and change your communication style. But if there's a very serious problem, then I would suggest you need to see a professional counselor who can help you with relationship counseling or family counseling, or, again, depending on what the problem is, the counselor can probably guide. So just be aware of your body. I'd like you to close your eyes and we'll talk a little bit more about the topic. So close your eyes, connect your tongue to the palate. The purpose of connecting the tongue to the palate is to enable us to be able to absorb better whatever is being said. So some of you have asked that, about people taking advantage. So the other thing about the law of karma is that you also have to think, have you been taking advantage of someone? Maybe sometimes we don't realize what it is. Okay, so I'm going to share a story with you which came to me right now. It was shared to me with me by my friend Orkadeb, Orko for short. So if I make any mistakes in the story, Orko, please forgive me. But if you like the story, you can say thank you to him. So what he told me once is that in one of the books he had read, that, humans have been withdrawing iron from the earth's crust for a very long time, right? We've been taking out iron and making steel and making our homes and doing all kinds of things with iron, right? Now, iron is something that is contained also in the blood, right? In the human blood. The purpose of it is, there is a lot of iron in the human blood. Now just think about this. Possibly when we are taking iron out of the earth, we are withdrawing the earth's blood because it contains iron. I know it's a little far-fetched idea, but it's just, I want you to think about it. Just let me develop the analogy. And our blood also contains iron. So just think about it, that when we dig into the earth and we pull out iron from the earth, right? And we build our life with it, So when we go for a blood test, yeah, what happens? What happens? The compounder puts an iron needle into our body and draws out what? Blood, right? So why am I talking about this? This is the law of karma. We take out blood from the earth's energy body. Iron is the medium. Similarly, when somebody takes out blood from our body, which also contains iron, iron is used in that process. So that is just to give you a sense of the law of karma. Okay, how deep and how wide and how precise the law of karma is. So why am I talking about this? It is because if someone is doing something to us, perhaps somewhere, either at an individual level in this lifetime, or there is family karma, or there is community karma, or there is country karma, or there's just human karma. So there are many levels of karma. So if you want to read more about the topic, there are several books. There is one called Karma by Annie Besant by the Theosophical Society. So you can read that also. So again, the idea of this is to basically make us think and to make us understand, learn the lesson on what is it that we need to learn. Why is this happening to us? Okay. And the other thing I want to say about the law of karma, for those of us who have seen Master Choa actually do a public darshan and to heal people that are just in front of him, before he healed somebody, this is what I understand, that he would actually check for their karmic entitlement to heal. So this is again my understanding based on observing him during videos, stuff that I've heard from other people. I've never had heard Master Choa say this himself. But it is my understanding that he would heal, or he would pick up volunteers based on their karmic entitlement. So if he knew that you had the karmic entitlement to be healed, he would pick you and he would heal you. Which also means that if he felt that people hadn't learned their lesson, or people did not have the karmic entitlement, then perhaps, okay, I don't know, then perhaps he would abstain and just wait till that person built up the karmic balance sheet to actually be healed. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about this is, again, karmic balance sheet. You need to be aware of your karmic balance sheet. We all need to be aware. I'm not just giving, this talk is not just for you, it's also, I'm also listening to what I'm saying. So build up our karmic balance sheet. Try to think of good things. If you are being taken advantage of, just be aware, are you taking advantage of someone somewhere, not realizing it? That's also possible. Sometimes we don't realize it. And we think like we're not taking advantage of that person who's taking advantage of us, obviously. And also the other thing I want to say is that, people will take advantage of you when they're close to you. The man on the street, the chances are very few that he can take advantage of you, right? The person who can take advantage of you is your family, is people who you trust. So the way I understand it is that if I have karma to work out with someone, then that person will come closer and closer and closer and closer to me in a relationship. Any kind of relationship, can be a friendship, a marriage, whatever it is. And then the karma begins to get worked out. And then once the karma is worked out, that person begins to slowly move away from me. Okay? So if you notice, when we do the forgiveness prayer, we sometimes also say, go in peace. So that basically means, okay, the karma is worked out. I have forgiven you, you have forgiven me, and let's just end this here. Okay. So again, a lot of topics, but yes, we started with learn the lesson. We talked about being taken advantage of. We talked about the law of karma. And what else? That's it. And the karmic balance sheet. So again, so that's it. And there's one more thing I wanted to say again. There's a couple of people who are saying, can you bless this? Can you bless that? I will definitely channel whatever blessings I can, but I would just like to come back to the law of karma. The karmic entitlement has to be there. I am, at the end of the day, if at all, a very humble channel of my master and, of Master Choa Kok Sui and of other people. So basically, the point is that I can only channel blessings. Okay. You have to have the karmic balance sheet to be able to receive those blessings. So if the karmic balance sheet is not there, then the blessings may or may not materialize. So just be aware of the karmic balance sheet. Those of us who have done pranic healing, you can just check your karmic entitlement by scanning. If you don't know, then there are a couple of other videos that we have out there which are open only to basic pranic healers. So you have to share your email ID with us to enable us to share those with you. Those are not publicly available on YouTube for obvious reasons, obviously. So you can, you can approach us for those, and we can help you understand how to see how much karmic balance sheet you have to be able to move things along. Okay, so I'm happy to bless anything, but again, you have to be aware I'm only a channel of the Supreme God, if at all. Hopefully he considers me worthy enough to be a channel, and the rest is your balance sheet also. Okay. Okay, so we just have one more question we're going to take for a minute, and that is, if you have lost a job or you want a new job, then I would suggest you bless your job, bless all the people involved with the job. That is one thing that you can definitely do. It helps a lot to find the right kind of job if you bless the job that you had or the job that you want, and also bless people who have the kind of job that you want. That is really important, because that just shows that you can be happy for other people, and it's a great way to generate good karma. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. We will be having, the next session will be the Archangel meditation, so we'll see you then. Bye.